It is Wednesday, July 16th, and Dems caught red-handed in the largest rent-a-protester fraud in American history. We've all assumed these nationwide protests were fake. Well, we now have the evidence, the proof. Wait till you see this. Also, Dem Senator Adam Schiff from California is in criminal trouble, caught in an alleged mortgage fraud. Trump calling for justice, Schiff responding, and the fight to remove Fed Chair Jerome Powell continuing. He's apparently refusing to resign. They are working to get him out of that post. This will be going into overdrive soon. The long-term rate reaching breakneck levels. Trump needs this resolved ASAP, and more stories as well from around the country. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos, and consider subscribing to the channel if you appreciate these regular updates.
The Tea Party was out in force today, railing against the IRS.
There are some people who want to write the obituary for the Tea Party, but if you look around at this crowd on a Wednesday afternoon, the Tea Party is alive and well, and we are going to write the obituary for big government.
So back in 2007, the ethos of the Tea Party movement came together by Americans sick and tired of Big Brother, sick of government overreach, endless spending, and overtaxation, catapulted into the mainstream by Senator Rand Paul's election. It was a real grassroots movement. Americans all across the country were lifted up to limit and restrain the Obama administration. Millions of patriotic Americans joining together from the bottom up. That's the key point. From the bottom up, it started small and the message resonated. It wasn't a top-down movement or protest or whatever. Americans weren't paid to go to these events. The Tea Party was the definition of an American protest movement, what the First Amendment was intended for, unlike what we're seeing now today, where these uber-rich liberal donors and dark money left-wing NGOs are hijacking and morphing it into this free speech, paid permanent protest movement for months now. NGO-funded groups like Indivisible, a far-left color revolution group, and others have been organizing protests around the country. They first popped up to stop Elon Musk. We all saw that, what they did to Elon, firebombing Tesla factories, crashing Tesla's stock, essentially cratering Musk's popularity enough to force him out of Trump's orbit. Well, they're at it again. After succeeding with Elon, they then moved on to target number one, President Donald Trump. The main group, Indivisible, that's their name, has maintained a continuous nationwide campaign against him. Yesterday, for instance, paid foot soldiers were outside Carnegie Mellon's buildings in Pittsburgh, where Trump attended this energy summit. You could see them here. So how were they able to keep these protests so efficient, so highly organized? They're everywhere, all over the country, way more organized than the Tea Party ever was. How? Because it's not a grassroots movement. It's a highly organized, well-funded, massive operation. An operation that costs upwards of tens of millions of dollars a month to keep going. And if you're asking, well, how do you know it's not organic? How do you know they're not real protesters? Some of them may be real, but the majority are not, who just so happen to all dress the same, wear black masks, carry these mass-produced signs that they walk around with. Besides that, yesterday, News Nation interviewing a guy named Adam Stewart, the CEO of Crowds on Demand. That's the name of his company, Crowds on Demand, who blew the whistle on the entire operation, admitting to having rejected a $20 million contract for nationwide large-scale demonstrations across the country. You can't make this up. Roll the tape.
Have the organizers of the July 17th demonstrations approached you?
Interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement have approached us. And in fact, we rejected an offer that probably is worth around $20 million.
$20 million?
Correct. I mean, this is a nationwide thing, right? It's not to say I would have made $20 million personally, but the value of the contract would have been worth around that amount nationwide to organize huge demonstrations around the country. But personally, I just don't think it's effective. So I'm not trying to call myself virtuous for rejecting it. What I'm saying is, I'm rejecting it not because I don't want to take the business, but because, frankly, this is going to be ineffective. It's going to make us all look bad.
So I asked Swart who exactly offered him the $20 million. That, of course, was the natural question, but he says he would not say, says he does not talk about who exactly his clients are, that it would be bad for business, and he's been in business for 15 years, and he has to turn down a lot of contracts. But, interesting, $20 million is it's a lot of money.
Oh, Brian, quickly, before I let you go, did he explain about why he doesn't want to be involved with Thursday's protests?
Well, he said he had some concern about violence based on what he's seen in the past, but mostly he just doesn't think that it's productive or really making a difference big picture about how the country feels about President Trump. And he says he just didn't want to get involved.
$20 million offer he rejected was for tomorrow's upcoming color revolution operation called Good Trouble Lives On, which is another front group supported by these left-wing nonprofits. Here's a list of Good Trouble's partners. This is the group, again, who's carrying out tomorrow's major protests. It's on their website. They're publicizing this. Some of these nonprofits were the same ones who participated in previous demonstrations this year, like the No Kings March. Remember that one? This time on their website, they're calling for another nationwide color revolution scheduled for tomorrow, largely funded by NGOs who were given grants by the Biden administration, meaning our money is being used to fund this. It's unbelievable. Let me know if you think this should even be allowed. Obviously, spending tax dollars directly on this is illegal, but they get around it by dishing out these grants to these NGOs. Should Congress do something about this? Or would that be infringing on free speech? Let me know what you think. In another story, a bombshell of a story, Fannie Mae's Financial Crimes Division has referred a criminal complaint to the DOJ about California Senator Adam Schiff. The complaint, filed by Christine Bish and Darren Ellis, accusing Senator Schiff of, quote, a pattern of mortgage fraud, voter fraud, and unlawful campaign filing stretching back over 2 decades. That's a quote from the referral. That's on top of a new bombshell ethics complaint from last month. Watch.
Administration is corrupt. No one, not even a president, is above the law.
Well, we have a Fox News alert. The Angle has exclusively obtained the criminal referral for Democrat Senator Adam Schiff. It shows the underlying conduct described could result in claims of mortgage fraud. The referral submitted to the DOJ by Housing Director Bill Pulte alleges that Schiff has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, impacting payments from 2003 to 2019 for a Potomac, Maryland-based property. Schiff owns a home in California and another in Maryland. Well, perhaps, when the Democrats decided to have Mr. High and Mighty Adam Schiff head an impeachment witch hunt against Trump, they should have done their due diligence, not just on their absurd allegations, but on their own chairman. With us to analyze is Jonathan Fahey, former federal prosecutor.
And President Trump not pulling any punches, going on Truth Social this morning, letting Schiff have it, twisting the knife, calling the California senator a scam artist who needs to be brought to justice, writing, I've always suspected Shifty Adam Schiff was a scam artist. I learn that Fannie Mae's Financial Crimes Division have concluded that Adam Schiff has engaged in a sustained pattern of possible mortgage fraud. Adam Schiff said that his primary residence was in Maryland to get a cheaper mortgage and rip off America when he must live in California because he was a congressman from California. I always knew Adam Schiff was a crook. The fraud began with the refinance of his Maryland property on February 6, 2009 and continued through multiple transactions until the Maryland property was correctly designated as a second home on October 13, 2020. Mortgage fraud is very serious, Trump says, and crooked Adam Schiff, now a senator, needs to be brought to justice. Schiff responding on X, writing, since I led his first impeachment, Trump has repeatedly called for me to be arrested for treason. So in a way, I guess this is a bit of a letdown. Let's not forget, it was Adam Schiff who lied and led this country along for years about Trump being a Russian agent, basically calling our president a traitor for years.
In which the Russians offered help, which we know they did. The campaign accepted help, which we know they did. The Russians then delivered help, which we know they did.
There is circumstantial evidence of collusion.
The case is more than that, and I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. So,
you've said on more than one occasion that you've seen ample evidence of the Trump campaign's Russia collusion. Last March, you said you had more than circumstantial evidence of treasonous collusion with Russia.
I've certainly said that there's ample evidence of collusion.
Can you agree that there has been no evidence of collusion, coordination, or conspiracy that has been presented thus far between the Trump campaign and Russia?
No, I don't agree with that at all.
So it's no wonder Trump wants some payback, and more than just his epic roast from last month. If you didn't see that, we'll play it just for posterity's sake. Watch.
And that's with all of the difficulties and all of the fake investigations and the Adam Schiffs. Can you believe this guy? He's got the smallest neck I've ever seen. And the biggest head. We call him watermelon head. I'd say, how could that big fat face stand on a neck that looked like this finger? How can it? It was the weirdest thing. It's a mystery. Nobody can understand it. But he's one of the most dishonest human beings I've ever seen. And, you know, how we can allow people like that to run in office is a shame, but we did. He was in charge of the witch hunt, you know. He was in charge of the fake witch hunt with Russia. It was a made-up story.
In another story, the Obamas addressing the divorce rumors this morning, promising Michelle's podcast audience that everything is great between them. Barack joking, "She took me back. It was touch and go, though, for a while."
Welcome to IMO. Look at you, Kitty. How are you?
Wait, you guys like each other?
Oh, yeah, really, huh?
That's so
the
nice.
Rumor mill. It's my husband, y'all.
She took me back.
Now, don't start.
I can't.
It was touch and go for a while.
It's so nice to have you both in the same room together.
I know, because when we aren't, folks think we're divorced.
In another story, the fight to rein in the Federal Reserve continues. We were hearing late last week that the Trump administration were expecting Jerome Powell to resign by the end of this week. Well, apparently that's no longer expected to happen. Powell is resisting, and Trump not happy at all. Writing on Truth Social this morning, the Fed should cut rates by 3 points. Very low inflation, $1 trillion a year would be saved, because we have to refi all of this debt that Joe Biden incurred during the last 4 years. And this is apparently ramping up big time behind the scenes. The 30-year Treasury is about to hit a breakneck rate, folks. Anything over 5.1% on the 30-year is like crisis level. Something needs to be done. They can't let rates get too much higher. So keep an eye on this, folks. If rates go much higher, something will snap. Either the equity market, the credit market, or maybe even Jerome Powell. We shall see. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.